With the prequel, The First Omen, we now have 6 entries in the Omen franchise, so let's rank them. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good one today. I'm the movie ranker, and today I'm ranking all 6 Omen movies from worst to best. We have the original, we have the new prequel, a few sequels, and even a remake from 2006. So this should be interesting. I can tell you right now, one of my placements is going to be a hot take. A lot of you are not going to agree with me, but I don't care because this is my ranking. But I'd love to hear how you rank all 6 of these movies down in the comment section. We'll have a great discussion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future rankings. Here in October, I'm going to be releasing a lot of horror content, so stay tuned for that. And without wasting any more time, let's rank them. So easily coming in the last place, in number 6, I'm going with The Omen, Part 4, The Awakening. No surprise here. I think most people have this movie in last place in their rankings. It's just terrible. It's god-awful. It's cheap. It's made for TV, and you really feel that throughout the entire film. At times it gives me Halloween 5 vibes, and funny enough, I looked it up. The director, one of the 2 directors of this movie, did direct Halloween 5, so that makes sense. It's basically like a rehash of the original, except they swap out Damien for a girl named Delia, I think her name is. But yeah, there's not much to it here. She's not intimidating. There's no sense of terror or impending doom going on in this film. The score's god-awful. It doesn't match the film either. The kills are all lame, mostly off-screen or, very cheap. Nothing very interesting when it comes to the kills. So yeah, this movie is just crap. And then on top of that, we get 2 twists. One of them being that Delia is the son of Damien Thorn, which I'm like, oh, I like that. It kind of connects with the original trilogy a little bit that way. I don't mind that. What I don't like is the other twist or reveal where we find out Delia was really a twin and her twin brother stayed in embryo and she absorbed him or some shit. And when she falls off a horse in one part of this movie, it knocks out the embryo or something. I don't know. It's really dumb. And then they take that boy embryo and stick it in the mother, and then she gets pregnant with the boy. It's just what? That's not how things work in real life. And yeah, you find out that she's really the protector. She wasn't really the Antichrist. It's her twin brother that's going to be the new Antichrist. And I'm like, dumb. It just was really stupid. It's ridiculous. And I didn't like it one bit. So a terrible movie from start to finish. Up next at number 5, I'm going with The Omen from 2006, the remake. It's one of those remakes that's 95% exactly the same as the original. It's just modernized. So I understand if you've seen this movie first, you might really enjoy it. But me, I've seen the original first. So watching this, it felt like a waste of time. It doesn't add anything interesting or new to the story. It's just the same old shit redone in modern times. I do really enjoy Liev Schreiber, or whatever his name is, the main guy in this movie. He's the father, but he's no Gregory Peck. So all the performances kind of pale in comparison to the original, and the story is just too much of the same. So much like other remakes, Psycho, for instance, that are too similar, I'm just not a fan of them. But like I said, if you've seen this first, maybe you would prefer this film. It does up the kills. The kills are the same, but the practical effects and the work they put into the kills are a little more intense, a little more shocking, obviously, being a 2000s film. That's pretty much it. So I'm sticking with the original personally. Okay, just a heads up, from here on out, my number 4, 3, and 2 are all very, very close to each other, so keep that in mind. For me, coming into number 4 is Damien, Omen 2. Now, this one seems to be kind of a fan favorite. A lot of people seem to enjoy this one. It is entertaining. It does have some pretty elaborate kills, some pretty cool ones in here, although some of them are corny, but we'll get into it. We see Damien as like a 12-year-old around there. He's in military school this time around. So it has like the Omen feel to it, but with some Child's Play 3 sprinkled in for good measure. Me personally, I just don't like the actor that played Damien in this one, the kid. It just didn't work out for me. Didn't like his portrayal of Damien at all. This movie, like I said, has some great kills, but some of them are pretty corny. Specifically, the girl who gets attacked by the crows on the road and like gets her eyes pecked out or whatever, and then she's in the ditch. She crawls out blind in the middle of the road in front of a tractor trailer coming at her, and she gets hit by it and goes flying. And you can totally tell that it's a rag doll flying, a mannequin or whatever. It looks god awful, but it is so funny that you can't help but to laugh and have a good time with this kill, even though it's not really a good type of kill, if you know what I mean. Another cool one is in the elevator shaft when that one dude, the elevator falls, and then we get the elevator cable coming down and cutting through the elevator and cutting the dude in half. Again, kind of over the top, kind of far-fetched, but still really cool to watch, I suppose, especially for a 70s flick. It's pretty intense kills in here. But aside the carnage, I just wasn't a big fan of the story with this one. It just feels like anybody who gets into Damien's way, whether they find out who he really is, either dies, or if there's someone in the company that he's going to run in the future, if someone's ahead of him or whatever, he kind of tries taking them out. So it kind of feels random at times. There's no like story you get to follow from start to finish. It's just him at the academy while he's slowly figuring out that he's the Antichrist and people are dying all around him. So the plot's pretty thin. It lacks the tension and the terror of the original. I don't like the actor playing Damien. It's cool to see Lance Hendrickson in here, though. He's like one of the drill sergeants or whatever. That's kind of cool, but again, he doesn't do a whole lot. He's one of the protectors of Damien, we find out. There's a few of them in this film, but they don't do a whole lot. His disciples. And the ending just kind of felt really rushed and just like, that's it? Like when he's walking down the stairs at the very end and his driver picks him up, I'm just like, I thought it would end with a bigger bang. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It kind of sizzled out, even though we do get pretty cool little twists, finding out that his guardian, his mother, was actually a disciple as well. I never seen that coming. And she attacks the father and all that. And then there's a fire that breaks out. Kind of cool, but again, a little underwhelming for me. So I can see why people really enjoy this one. To me, the story just wasn't focused enough. There were subplots that they just skimmed past. I wish they would have took more time with. Like, for example, Damien. There's one part of the movie where he actually starts questioning who he is. And he starts having like inner struggles, like finding out that he is the Antichrist. But it just kind of skips past it in 5 minutes. And he just kind of accepts it and goes along with it. Where the movie would have been so much more interesting if he was kind of battling with that inner struggle, you know? So yeah, it's an okay film, but I feel like it could have been so much better. Up next at number 3, I have The First Omen. Yes, this is kind of my hot take. Most people would have this in second place or even first place in their franchise ranking. But for me, I really did enjoy this film for the most part. I think that the main lead, Nell Tiger Free, did a friggin' phenomenal job. Definitely the standout in this flick. I think she is fantastic and she has a bright future ahead of her if she continues delivering performances like this, because she is amazing. Especially that whole where her water breaks and she has this like possession scene. Oh my god, she's so good in the role, let me tell you. I like how they switch up the formula. This time we're at like this orphanage with the nuns looking after them and everything. Pretty interesting. In Rome, we obviously don't got Damien or an Antichrist running around, so the mystery behind the girl in this orphanage is pretty interesting. But to me, I always knew that the main lead here, she was connected somehow, because you know the movie wouldn't be following her around so much if it was all about this little girl. So I did see the big twist revolving around our main character coming. I seen it within the first 10 minutes. I swear to God, I called it. So that hurt the film just a little bit for me when it comes to the predictability part. But yeah, really good effects in here, whether we're talking about like the demon or beast, whatever it is. I think that was really cool. The pregnancy scene where they're cutting her open, really gnarly. Great practical effects in here. Great performances. The thing that hurts it for me a bit is the connection to the original. Now, this being a prequel, there's some things that they do in here that obviously changes when it comes to the original. They tweak a few things. Like, for instance, the mother was supposed to be a jackal of Damien's mother. And this, it doesn't exactly play out this way. Perhaps that was on purpose. Perhaps they were trying to imply that the first movie was a lie. You know, maybe just to make them think that the mother was a jackal or whatnot. But I don't know, it kind of hurts the original movie just a bit for me, the lore. I don't like them messing with it. They should have kept it the way it was. So I don't like all the attachment it has to the original because it just doesn't line up well. And then the way this movie ends is kind of setting up for future sequels in like this universe where they would probably line parallel with the original sequels and the original film, which is kind of interesting, but I don't know how I would feel about that until I see it really. So I'm kind of mixed on that ending at the cabin with the girl and, you know, the main lead in there. It's interesting, but at the same time, like I said, I'll have to see what they come up with. But for me, that's what brought down this movie for me is the fact that I seen certain things coming a mile away, and I don't like them messing with the lore and mythology of this franchise. So that's why this one's a little lower. Very well made film, well directed. It's up there with the remake for looking the nicest, you know, aesthetically. Great performances, great effects. It's just the story bothers me in places. But it was definitely a warm welcome where we have all of these reboots, remakes, and requels and sequels coming to old franchise. This is one of the better ones that we've gotten recently. So perhaps on rewatch it will go up for me, but as of right now, it's staying in third place. Up next at number 2, I'm going with Omen 3, The Final Conflict. I can hear you guys typing already. How dare you put part 3 this high? Because I really enjoyed it, okay? I admit, the first 15-20 minutes of this film had me scratching my head going, man, this is boring. Man, I could fall asleep. And if I would have stopped it there, this probably would have been last in my ranking, tell you the truth. But I'm glad I continued on because the movie really picked up after the first 20 minutes or so, and I got incredibly invested. We got Sam Neill playing Damien this time around, which is really cool. I think he gives a good performance. Some people don't give him enough credit, I feel. He plays Damien Thorne. He's an adult now. He's high up in politics and getting more powerful. He kind of accepted his role as the Antichrist by this point. And it's just really cool to see him trying to, you know, put the pieces together for him to rule. His performance is really good. I like it when he's in the room kind of doing a monologue on his own to that Jesus Christ statue. It's just really interesting. We get more more persona from Damien than we ever seen before, but it's never overdone in a way that takes away from the evilness. Sam Neill is evil as hell in here, I feel. Great scenes too, like I said, that monologue, the hunting scene where they're all going out hunting. And then he's like rubs the blood on the kid's face. Pretty creepy. And plus the whole bridge scene during that hunting party was really epic and cool. I like the subplots in this one. How we got this group of priests out there trying to kill Damien. We have Damien trying to kill all the newborn babies because they may be the second coming of Christ. So he has an opponent that he might have to deal with. I think that's interesting. We got some good versus evil for once. And it gets pretty dark when it comes to the babies, especially with the last one. There's just so much here to unpack that I feel like a lot of people overlook. I feel like they may have not have watched the whole movie. Maybe they just find it boring because they only watched the first 15-20 minutes like I mentioned. I don't know. The ending is, again, rushed, like most of these endings, I feel. Um, the way they lure Damien to the church, they trick him, and then the woman stabs him with one of the daggers. You need 7 to kill him. And a lot of people say, did they not watch the other movies? They only stabbed him with one. Yes, but if you would listen to what the exorcist said in the first movie, stabbing him with one in the heart will kill his body. The 7 will get rid of him for good. So technically his soul is still around or whatever once Damien dies at the end of this flick. And he kind of says, you haven't won yet. You know, he says something clever to the Jesus figure that's floating in front of him, which, you know, obviously it was setting up for sequels just in case. But at the same time, I like that. I like that being a little bit more ambiguous. You never really know. Well, deep down, you kind of know he's not really gone. And I don't know. I just really like that. I could have did without the biblical passages and that on the screen. I feel like that was a little too much getting hit over the head with religious stuff, but they didn't need that. But aside from that, I still kind of like the ending to this one. So I'm not a hater like most people. I really enjoyed this. And the opening death at the starting of this flick is actually really good. It's the best part of the boring scenes where the ambassador shoots himself, but in a way where he's like tying up, he like makes a whole like trap for when the press opens the door, the gun will blow his brains out. And I thought that was just really cool. And I didn't see it coming. So I don't know. The final conflict. I seem to enjoy this movie way more than most people, but again, it's still only like a 3.5 star at most. So take it with a grain of salt. I don't love this movie or anything. I just think that it's overhated. But for me, coming in the first place is easily The Omen from 1976. The clear winner here. Everything about this flick is almost perfection. It's so damn good. It's dripping with atmosphere and mood. That score just sends chills down your spine. The musical score is so damn good in here. And it seems to come into play every time something bad's about to happen. And it really gives you that sense of impending doom. I freaking love it. Damien, the kid who played Damien, easily the best who ever played Damien. He really doesn't got many lines or nothing, but he has that look. That look where you're like, he could be the Antichrist, but at the same time, he's still got that little innocence to him, that childlike innocence who is kind of tricky with him, especially at the very end when the Gregory Peck's character, the father, is ready to kill him and he's like, Daddy, no! You're like, is he really the Antichrist? Like, he makes you think a bit. It's thought-provoking. But yeah, he really sold the role. One of the best kid actors here. And like I said, he doesn't have to do much. It's just his presence. It says 1,000 words. And I like that he has like a dog as a protector in here. And you got that crazy nanny who's like another disciple. And it's just, you know, bad things are going to happen, but there's nothing you can do to stop them. And us as the viewer is just watching in shock as all this goes down. I also think Gregory Peck does a fantastic job as the father. I mean, he's always great in How to Kill a Mockingbird, Cape Fear. I mean, I love him in everything I've watched, so it's no different here. He's great again. I like how you got that photographer who takes pictures of everybody and you find out that it's clues to how they're going to die or who's going to die next. It's very similar to Final Destination 3. And I just love the Final Destination movie. So that, again, was another cool part to this film. What else? There's so much to talk about with this one. I like the whole reveal when they're at the graveyard and they see the jackal skeleton and then he sees his real baby skeleton and he finds out what really happened. It's another really shocking, impressive scene. And all the dogs show up to attack them. Very cool. And that whole ending, I mean, once the father goes into the house to get rid of Damien and you got the dog and the nanny and everything there, the tension's at an all-time high. I'm there biting my fingernails watching this scene. And from there right to the end credits, it's just the tension's at an all-time high. And I feel like that's something that all of these movies fail at. Like they never can really encapsulate that feeling again that this first film did with, and it didn't have a crazy big budget or anything either, but it was just really well written and really well directed too. Richard Donner directed this one and again did a fantastic friggin' job. If I had to say like one negative about this film, I think the middle of the movie does slow down a bit, where Gregory Peck, the father, the photographer, start investigating, and they're traveling all over the place trying to find answers, and it does feel like they're going from one destination to the next. Location A, location B, location C, location D, just slowly figuring out pieces to the puzzle, where I think that could have been tightened up just a bit, but that's my only negative, and it's not even a big one. This is still an extremely solid film. The kills are pretty much ahead of its time. For 1976, we get a great decapitation kill, which, looks fantastic, and again, you don't really see it coming at the time. The first death in the film with the nanny hanging herself. This is for you, Damien. Like, that scene, it just really shows you what you're getting yourself into, because it's shocking, and just the way she's so happy doing it, it just doesn't sit right. But yeah, really well made, man. So great kills, great cinematography, great music, great performances, and great story. What else is there to say? It's just a phenomenal film, easily the one I'll be returning to the most in the future, and it comes in first place in my Omen ranking. So there you have it, guys. There's my ranking of all 6 Omen movies. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure you don't agree with me, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. We all have our own personal tastes and opinion. As long as you respect mine, I'll respect yours. But make sure you drop your rankings down in the comments section. We'll have a great discussion. You can follow me on Letterboxd and Instagram. Links to those are always in the descriptions of my videos, guys. I got way more horror franchise rankings coming and other types of videos for you guys. So stay tuned. Subscribe so you don't miss out on them. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.